Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. And as always, stop and take a moment to acknowledge the good work that you are continuing to do for yourself. And it may not seem like a lot at the moment, but every little bit of awareness that you bring to yourself is another step forward into bringing ease into your life. And some of this good work that we do for ourselves involves grounding our emotions and managing our approach within stressful situations. So this episode is going to be good because we are going to be talking about dealing with negative people and dealing with bouts of negative people within our lives. And there are some school of thoughts that say, well, anyone negative that's in your life, get rid of them and no more. Simple as that. However, typically some of the negative people in our lives tend to be the people that are within our significant circle. So they can be our partners, or they can be coworkers that we work closely with, or they can be our siblings or our parents. So it is very important to learn how to ground ourselves within these situations and to manage our approach within these significant people in our lives. So we're going to be going over some coping strategies. And first, I'd like to introduce myself for those of you that don't know me. My name is Lee, and I guide others in the transition from past harming patterns. And that can mean, as it says in the title of the channel, recovery from addiction, or recovery from past relationships, or recovery from a life of not being honest with ourselves. So there is something here for everyone. So be sure you hit the notification bell to get weekly reminders of free guidance for next week when we're feeling tired, or we're busy, or we're feeling better because some of this good work is paying off. But it is always important to continue to work on ourselves and to keep making discoveries. As well, there are some links in the description for some resources for you. And as well, always share. Share in the comments, share with those who care about you, and always share with yourself the things that you are continuing to learn about yourself. So to launch into this, I think it's important to think about the following as often as you can, and particularly with respect to today's topic. It's important to accept that you need to take responsibility for managing your emotions, and therefore recognizing your role in dealing with the negativity of people within your life. And so the first approach is to step back and ask yourself, what do I gain from the negative bouts from others within my life? And I don't mean do you get wined and dined, or do you get a few extra days of vacation because you listen a bit longer to the boss. You're going to take it a bit deeper than that and explore what you psychologically gain from these bouts of negative people. So for example, do they offer you a chance to be compassionate and a bit of a caregiver? Or do they give you reasons to complain to someone else about that negative person? Or perhaps do they provide you with a challenge of taking control of a situation by influencing others to calm down? Or do they give you a reason to have a bit of drama within your life, such as stomping away or meeting their energy? Or do they give you a chance to shift focus away from your own problems? Remember, use these circumstances as an opportunity for growth. So ask yourself these questions such as above, and also ask yourself more questions that pertain to your specific circumstances. Another thing to be mindful of is to be aware of what patterns you may be reinforcing within the negative person. Because often we are the ones that teach other people how to treat us or how to behave around us. So it may be your own anticipated reactions telling the negative person that you are the listener to their complaints, that you are the shoulder to cry on. perhaps you are the one that reinforces the opportunity for them to be the center of attention. And please don't let this influence the way that you provide support to others, but think of how you may enable these bouts of negativity. And this is a tough one. So just as in the previous step where you were thinking about what you get from the relationship, turn the tables and ask what they get from being negative around you. Because although we are taught not to take things personally, when it comes to negative people, perhaps it is personal. So be sure to keep that in mind. Another thing that will be helpful within your plan to manage your reactions is to resist the urge to join the negative person within their same ways. So this is where you need to tap into that awareness that you've been working on and challenge yourself to resist the urge to become negative yourself. So a good strategy is to try not to judge or assume certain things about the person's situation. And that's an important one to keep us grounded within these scenarios, as it allows us some empathy for the negative person. Because let's easily admit that we all have bad days, we have rough spots throughout our lives, and we have been that negative person because we aren't perfect and we still have bouts of negativity coming from within us. So the key takeaway from this one is to be mindful of the thoughts and the actions and make it a deliberate goal not to shift your energy into negative energy. And if not for your own sake, and likely for the sake of the person that you care about. And this next one is great for practicing standing up for ourselves. So be mindful to start using these moments around the negativity of another person to create and reinforce some boundaries for yourself. So that means boundaries that are designed by you, for you, and not necessarily for others to follow. They are not for the other person. These are for you. So for a common example, especially for those of us dealing with low self-worth, when the negative person is taking things out on you, do not allow yourself to start counting the reasons you deserve this. Instead, try to make it a boundary to stop that negative self-talk when you start to call yourself stupid and weak for listening to the other person's crap. Another scenario is when you notice the bout of negativity and you notice that it's becoming escalated. Make it a rule that you excuse yourself from that conversation. Perhaps make another rule for yourself not to call them names to yourself, as that can lead to pent-up anger, which can make your life more difficult over time. As well, take some time to create some nice guidelines for you to follow. So when the negative person has left your space, use this as a chance to cite some things that you are grateful for within your life. And this will help shift your emotional energy into a more healthy and self-serving approach. And be sure to create some self-boundaries that will keep you grounded and from becoming too worked up from the situation unfolding from the negative person. So make it a rule to take big breaths and cite positive affirmations about yourself. And hopefully that shouldn't be too hard, because we hopefully are practicing some daily positive affirmations for ourselves. Another thing that can be helpful for both ourselves and the person who is in the rant of negativity is to try to diffuse the negativity. This can make us feel like we are helping and like we are approaching with compassion and care, which is very important when trying to disarm the negative person, who also happens to be someone that we greatly care about. And a tip here is try not to solve the bigger picture on the spot, but to bring some ease to the moment by offering some upfront and honest words, like offering to get together and discuss once things have calmed down, or to try not to get too bogged down into the situation. And if this person is so worked up that they are unwilling to listen to reason or to participate, well, that's where we can use the self-boundaries have them kick in. And once again, this can demonstrate that by managing your role within these scenarios, that you can turn dealing with negative people into good practices and mindsets for yourself. And that's it. So it's all about practicing, and perhaps you can listen to this episode again and take notes and start preparing yourself to stay grounded among all situations. And be sure to check out my workbooks. The links are in the description. I have a Banish Negative Self-Talk Guide and a Self-Boundary Builder. And take a look at the link for my Envision Your Way recovery course, which works us through the pillars of change so that you can become the person that you envision yourself to be. So good luck with all of this. Remember to ground yourself, to manage your approach, and in the meantime, take care.